See, staying in Babylon because we don't know anything else. That's the majority of the answer. When you tell people, hey, have you ever been out of the country? No, I don't know what's over there. I don't know what's over there. You got people of our nation, you got people of other nations traveling here and there. But our people, there's a lot of our people who've never even left their neighborhoods. Fear. Afraid to leave the plantation. You had people who, after slavery, decided to take jobs in sharecropping because they didn't want to leave the plantation. They were afraid of what was off the plantation. Sharecropping exists to this day. It's a modern form of slavery. They choose it because of fear. The fear of death makes servants. This is how people are easily controlled by the media through this pandemic. Even though the information that's provided clearly doesn't make sense. It's the fear of death. See, the crazy part is we're looking at this and they're telling us, oh, Florida, highest number of deaths. Do you see it? Do you see people dropping dead? See, I'll put it like this. People who self-quarantine at home with COVID, how often are you seeing them die? How often are you seeing people come in with hazmat suits and remove bodies from houses that have died from COVID-19? Anybody seen it? But because they say this thing is a killer, it will kill you. That fear of death makes you subject to everything that they're saying. But the crazy part is I read an article where Bill Gates says, I still wear a mask, even though I got my vaccine. I wear a mask because you know what? I can still transfer the virus to other people. And then Dr. Feige comes out and says, well, once you get the vaccine, you don't need to wear a mask anymore. People who have a vaccine won't be required to wear a mask because you're not going to transfer it from one person to another. So what's the story here? You got Bill Gates, who's funding the creation of the vaccines, who started the research of the creating the vaccines, and you got a COVID-19 specialist over here. Who do we believe? Now, keep in mind, this news came out within days of each other. This isn't new and old. You see the conflicting information? The information that they're putting out doesn't make sense, but the second they say COVID-19 can kill you, you're stuck in your house. Ain't nobody force you into your house. You put yourself there. You got pastors that's been in their house since the start of COVID. They weren't forced to be there. The quarantine only lasted 2 weeks. But you still got people who've locked themselves in their house. The fear of death creates servants. We, as followers of Christ, are not to fear death because our spirits are eternal. Our souls are eternal. Why fear death when there's something greater for us after death? Only the wicked fear death. I want to live as long as possible. Well, is there a way that I can make myself immortal so I don't have to die? They know what comes after this. The righteous don't fear death. Christ didn't fear death. The prophets of old did not fear death. The majority of the prophets died horrific deaths. They weren't afraid of death. And if you're afraid of death in this time, you are a servant to death. You are a servant of death. That's what kind of life is that to live? A life serving death. Living in a bubble because everything can kill you. The scriptures say, fear not those who can kill your physical body, but fear the one who can kill your body for eternity, who can kill you for eternity, torture your soul. Those who are in Christ don't fear death. The second we stop fearing death is when we become more dangerous than this world's infrastructure. The second the children of Israel stop fearing death is the second this world's infrastructure starts shaking in their boots. Because that's always when we're most dangerous. We knew nobody could touch us when we were right with the Most High. So what do I need to fear you for? We're going out into battle and not losing one man. We're seeing this. We're like, hold up. Our God is powerful. Okay. I don't need to fear dying because my God is more powerful than yours. But our people don't think that way no more. It's like, well, I could die. What if what they're saying is true? That means I could die. The fear of death is what keeps us enslaved. It's time for our people to put the blood on the door and believe. Become sealed and believe. If you're baptized and you don't believe the power that comes with baptism, what's the point of the baptism? It's just water at that point. Does nothing. Sickness is in the mind. When you believe that you're healed, you're healed. If you believe that you're sick, you're sick. That's why people who going into these hospitals and getting all of this extra stuff done to them are dying in the hospitals, but people who get COVID and they handle it at home themselves are living. Something about going into that hospital and being around a spirit of death, being around a bunch of dying people. Notice how a majority of people who enter into elderly homes, their mind goes faster. They went in fine, but now, oh, well, your grandmother has Alzheimer's. Their brain starts to go. Because that's a spirit, right? When you put yourself in the midst of sick people, you're going to become sick. Christ healed the sick. He never got sick. So what are you fearing sickness for? Christ spent all his time laying hands on the sick, and he never got sick. Christ spent all his time ridding people of demons, but never got a demon. Why are you afraid? When the spirits of this earth have been made subject unto you, you're fearing what you are more powerful than. What are you afraid of a fire ant for when you can step on it? 2 Baruch chapter 23, verse 3. We're going to get into this. We're going to get real deep into this right here.
2 Baruch chapter 23, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
For as you have not forgotten the people who are now and those who have passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember those who are appointed to come.
I remember those who are appointed to come. Read.
Because when Adam sinned and death was decreed against those who should be born, then the multitude of those who should be born was numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And for that number, a place was prepared where the living might dwell and the dead might be guarded.
Now, what is this talking about? This is talking about when man sinned and the Most High said that his spirit shall only strive with man 120 years. We went over this in the Most High's Clock, the sequel, right? We broke that down, and it comes out to 120 jubilees. 120 times 50, 6,000. 6,000 years is man's time on earth, right? So he said when that was decreed. Now, going back to what he said first, he says, for as you have not forgotten the people who are those and who have passed away, those who died. You remember your great grandmothers, if your grandparents have passed on, if your father has passed on, you remember those who passed away. The Most High says, also, I remember those who are to come. The souls that have not been born yet. Right? Read.
Before, therefore, the number aforesaid is fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
The creature will not live again.
Mm-hmm.
For my spirit is the creator of life.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheol will receive the dead.
And Sheol will receive the dead. What is he saying here? He's saying that there are still souls to be born. and until all the souls that are released that were meant to be born, that is when the end should come. Right? So that's another promise. Not only did he say the 144,000 have to be sealed, the law, the gospel of the Most High has to be taught to all four corners of the earth. Now here's another requirement. For the end to come, all the souls that are meant to be born must be born. Why do you think abortion rights has been such a big thing these last couple of years? Why do you think 76% of those, more than 76% of those abortion clinics are in Israelite communities, Black and Hispanic communities? Those souls that they know they're trying to hold back prophecy. If I can keep those children from coming, the end won't come. The Most High said, just like you remember those who are dead, I remember those who are still to come. They don't want those souls to be released. Those saints that are coming. Mm-hmm. You're seeing Israelite children being born, and it has so much, the way that they think, they're smarter than the last generation was. It seems like they're more mature already in their minds than the last generation of children was. These children are prepared. These are souls that the Most High, these are the saints that the Most High is sending. Mm-hmm. These are the Deborahs, the Moses, the Joshuas, the Calebs, the Ezekiels, the Isaiahs. Those spirits are being released. Read.
Verse 6. And again, it is given to you to hear the things that are to come after these times. Mm-hmm. For truly, my redemption has drawn nigh, and is not far distant as aforetime. He
said before the judgment, you had a lot of time. Now you don't have a lot of time no more. The earth has become old. The earth is waxed old. Remember the time that Ezra lived in, where Ezra lived at around the 10 and a half mark? Ezra and Baruch were best friends. So Baruch was living around the same time that Ezra was living in. So he's living at that time where the Most High said the earth has began to wax old. He's like, listen, the judgment isn't afar off anymore. It's close. Right? He said, until all of the souls that were meant to be born are born, the end will not come. There are still many more to come. Right? Now let's start getting into this end time. Let's get into Matthew chapter 24, what Christ was talking about, where he said, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. Because the Most High gave us a little bit of a magnifying glass on that. Not only through Baruch, but in Revelation as well, which is what we'll get into. Let's get Baruch, 2 Baruch chapter 25, verse 1.
2 Baruch chapter 25, verse 1. Mm-hmm. And he answered and said unto me, you too shall be preserved till that time, till the sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days.
He will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of the days. Read.
This therefore shall be the sign.
This is the sign. Remember, Jacob seeketh the sign. Right? Jacob seeketh the sign. So this is the sign. Read.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
What is a stupor? What is a stupor? We're going to get it. A stupor is a suspension or great diminution of sensibility, as in a disease caused by narcotics, intoxicants, etc. Right? So it's almost when you're brain dead or when your reaction time is slowed down. Right? So he's saying that a stupor shall seize the earth. First thing we point to. Mm-hmm. In the last 5 years, mental health skyrocketed, right? Mm-hmm. Depression, anxiety, all of this mental health initiative has been pushed. Now, what comes along with mental health? Drugs. Mm-hmm. So to calm anxiety, ADHD, ADD, they give you this medicine to dumb your brain, to jack up your brain. It makes you, instead of you all being all hyper and moving, I've seen it. There was a kid named Damien in my class when I was in the second grade, and he had ADHD. He was just all over the place. But my teacher went to his mom. She said, hey, he has this issue. And he left school. He came back a couple of weeks later and he was just like, everything that was in his mind, everything that he was before was just gone. He was just like gone. Like I'm telling you, it was gone. That's what these drugs are doing to people. Smoking marijuana. That's a stupor. The effects that it causes is a stupor. Long-term smoking marijuana, it slows down your reaction time. You can't move quite as fast. Your brain doesn't function quite as quickly. That's a stupor caused by narcotics, intoxicants, alcohol, alcoholics, people who can't live without drinking. Any addictions and things like that cause stupor, to be brain dead. Right? He says a stupor shall seize the earth. I see it more now than ever. You see these people just staring off into space sometimes. You talk to people, you be like, hey, man, you can give me the answer. Hey, what did she just say? I don't know. Like people just you ask somebody, hey, go on to Walmart and ask somebody, hey, where the birthday cards at? It's somewhere in here. Like a stupor shall seize the earth. They shall seize the inhabitants of the earth. And lo and behold, and this time is when they're pushing pharmacy, drugs. They're legalizing marijuana. Everything, all of this stuff coming out at once. A stupor shall seize the earth. Read.
Start back at verse 3. When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into diverse temptations, tribulations. And again, when they shall fall into great torments.
Now, it's easier for you to be tricked or for you to make a bad decision when you're under the influence of something, right? It would be easier it would be harder to convince a Damien without the ADHD medicine to do something than it would after they put him on it. Because he was obedient then. It was like, hey, stand up. Hey, sit down. So it's easier, right? Just like I'll put it like this. Majority of people who are addicted to some kind of hard drug were alcoholics first. Because there's suggestion at that point. It's easier to convince you to take something that you wouldn't otherwise do if you were sober. Fact of the matter is that I haven't met a black person who's not afraid of a needle. I haven't met one. But then again, you also have a large amount of our population that are injecting themselves with them for drugs. I'm sorry, but a sober black person who's already afraid of needles isn't thinking about sticking themselves with one every day. There had to have been something when they were first introduced to it that caused the desire for that. Right? It's the same thing here. They shall fall into many tribulations, and again, they shall fall into great torments. Read.
And it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one doth no longer remember the earth.
God is dead. See, but it's quite the opposite. See, they think because of the people. See, that's the thing, is that people have this mindset that God isn't a God of wrath and war. When that's pretty much what the Most High showed throughout the Old Testament. Struck down a man for touching the Ark of the Covenant when he clearly told him not to touch it. He opened up the earth to swallow half of the nation that Moses led out of Egypt. So people are looking at this and people are receiving this doctrine from Christians that God is love and he loves everybody, when that's not who God's character is. The scriptures say that the Most High is a man of war. So when they see all of this tribulation and the judgment coming on the wicked, they think God must be dead. Because the God that I know would never let anything like this happen to the earth. And that's exactly what Albert Pike was talking about. He would compromise the beliefs of the Christians and of the Muslims and of the Zionists, right? He would use that. He would use this compromised mindset, this idea of why would God let something like this happen? And at that point, he said that they will usher in the pure doctrine of Satan. It's people in this mindset right here, that'll be ushered in, that will be introduced. And for people who have their children in school, don't even realize that there's an initiative called After School Satan that they're putting in elementary schools. Having men who turn themselves into women, drag queens, come in and read to your kids. So they're being indoctrinated with this mess. Only the beginning of sorrows. Read.
Yes, it will come to pass when they abandon hope that the time will then awake.
The second they've abandoned hope, that's when it's going to go down. The second they've quit. See, this is a purging process of the children of Israel. Purging out from them among Israel the weak and leaving the strong. So at each level, at each stage, at each part, everything that comes to pass, you're going to see a certain amount of Israel knocked off. Until the ones that the Most High intended. Remember, many are called, few are chosen. Until those chosen are left. Right? See, when you look at for a lot of people don't know about the Tuskegee experiment and things like that. What did the vaccines that they were giving our children and our men and our people doing to the children? Causing autism and different things like that, causing different mental health issues amongst our people. They had a neurological effect on the functions in the brain. You feel people get vaccines and they're like, well, I can't feel my fingers. I can move my hand, but I can't. That's a neurological problem. When you can't smell or taste, that's neurological because those nerve endings are connected to your brain. So that means there's something wrong with your brain. When you touch something, it sends a signal all the way back up to your brain and you feel. So if you're having trouble feeling, it's because there's a problem with your brain. That goes to the food that you eat, what you're putting into your body, chemicals. They're putting different things inside of clothes and things that you wear. See, people don't realize there's a reason why the Most High said not to mix fabric. Because it has an effect on your brain. If you're going to have linen, it needs to be 100% linen. If you're going to have cotton, it needs to be 100% cotton. You don't mix them and intertwine them. Because it causes issues with your brain, with your neurological senses. So everything that they're doing and that they're giving the people and all the chemicals that they're putting in the food and everything that they're putting in the water, which we're going to get into later, is causing the stupor. This is deeper than y'all think. Let's get Baruch chapter 26, verse 1.
Second Baruch chapter 26, verse 1. And I answered and said, will that tribulation, which is to be continue a long time, and will that necessity embrace many years?
And will that necessity embrace many years? How long will this tribulation last, is Baruch's asking the Most High. This tribulation that you're talking about, how long is it going to last? Let's get Baruch chapter 27, verse 1. Second Baruch chapter 27, verse 1.
Second Baruch chapter 27, verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is the time divided.
So just like the Most High divided the earth into 12 parts, 1,000 each, 12 days, right? He's divided this time into 12 parts. Let's talk about those parts. Read.
And each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it.
Now, remember the last time the Most High promised that something would happen on time? It happened on time, right? So this is the Most High saying there's an appointed time for each of these. Read.
Verse 2. In the first part, there shall be the beginning of commotions.
What is commotion? Noise. Noise. Distraction, basically. That's the best way to get somebody's attention. If you want to lead them one place as opposed to another, you cause a distraction over here, you make a ruckus over here so that you can do something else over here. The beginning of commotions, read, riots, protests. You got riots, you got protests, you got people losing their minds, looting, commotions, right? What's the second part?
And in the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones.
Slayings of the great ones. People that you wouldn't expect to die, just one at a time. Kobe, and then you have there was Pop Smoke. I don't listen to the dude, but it was a bunch of other just people just dying. Perceived to be great men, great women, just dying. Read.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. That is what comes to this whole virus thing that's broken out recently, right? Where that they say is killing a lot of people. What a lot of people don't realize is that the statistics show that majority of the people who died of COVID-19 died on the ventilator. Right? The fall of many by death. Read.
And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword.
The sending of the sword. War. Read.
And in the fifth part, famine and withholding of rain.
Famine and the withholding of rain. You're looking at the West Coast with these fires and everything like that. With this, people are snowed in, can't get food, can't get water. Not to mention the famine that's happening everywhere else around the world that we don't consider. And the fact that they can't get water in other places around the world, people don't consider. I had a friend in Cuba. Their land is plenteous, food everywhere, water everywhere, famine. Famine happening there. Nobody knows why. I mean, there's food everywhere. But for some reason, can't find food anywhere. Read.
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors.
Inclement weather. Just earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. Read.
And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shadim.
A multitude of specters and the attack of the Shadim. What is that? Mental health, the releasing of demons. The specter and the Shadim. What do you call it? Poltergeist. Demonic activity at its height. Right? You got demonic activity. People possessed with demons, losing their minds. Mental health, depression, and this, and one that's often ignored. That's often ignored here in the U.S. Gluttony, greed, eating disorders. You don't hear about no eating disorder anywhere but here in the U.S. Eating disorders. That's a demon. Sickness, demon. Demons. People don't realize pharmakeia is sorcery. There's demons in that. If you look up medicine in the Bible, when you look up sorcery, the word goes back to pharmakeia. Pharmacy. That's what that is. Read.
Verse 10. And in the ninth part, the fall of fire.
In the ninth part, the fall of fire. War. Not just war within countries. We're starting to see bombs fall. People not realize that was a bomb that Joe Biden dropped in Syria. That these were bombs that Iran and Israel were shooting at each other. That these are bombs, nuclear weaponry that Russia, Germany, China, Korea, Iran, Iraq all have in their possession. And it shows you that they don't care because these jokers know Iran has nuclear weapons, but yet they decided to not only kill one of their leaders, but to blow up one of their bases in Syria. Read.
Verse 11. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression.
And much oppression. What's that? The suppressing of the people. Stay in your homes. Don't go nowhere. Stay in your homes. Right? See, right now it's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. But what a lot of people aren't looking at and realizing is that the narrative of COVID has changed. Remember, it was Chinese people. It started off with the Chinese people. Then it was with the white people. And now COVID-19 is a black disease all of a sudden. Black people are more likely to die of COVID-19. Black people are more likely than this. Black people are more likely than that. The reason why COVID-19 still exists is because the black people aren't handling COVID correctly. See, the question for that is how can we be COVID in this country when we only account for black people only account for 13% of it? 14% of the population is black. So you said you need herd immunity. We need all the black people to get the vaccine so that we can reach herd immunity, which is about 73%. That means you don't need us. Then your math ain't right. If it's only 14% of us, then that means if all of the white people get vaccinated, then we good. You don't need us. Why are you forcing the vaccine on us? They're saying, oh, black people need to not fear, be skeptical of the vaccine. Go ahead and take it. No, why are you focusing on us? Why us? We're one of the smaller populations. Why are you bothering us? When you're the majority, right? That means that if you get it, we good. Because it's not about that. It's not about that. See, there's an awakening happening in our communities. And they said, we got to do it the old-fashioned way. When you wanted somebody to taken out, what did you do? Poison them. Poison. So they said, you know what? Remember those vaccines that you've been holding? We'll drop this we'll drop this whole pandemic thing. Say that black people are COVID, and we'll make them get a vaccine that usually takes 5-10 years to develop a vaccine, but this one came up in about 2 or 3 weeks. We'll just convince them that it's safe to take, and we'll be all good. I'm not convinced. Read.
Let me get back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, verse 12. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
Wickedness and unchastity. Total loss of morals. Fornication everywhere. Wickedness everywhere. All kinds of disgusting wickedness going on. You got men becoming women. Men becoming women. Women becoming men. These weird behind relationships. Oh, my wife is a dog. I can't say. What? What? Well, she prefers to be, treated like a horse. What? You see a dude walking around feeding his wife carrots and sugar cubes. Like, this is the kind of craziness that we're living in right now. What's the 12th part?
Verse 12. And in the 11th part, wickedness and chastity. And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all these things aforesaid.
And the mingling together of all these things aforesaid. So that means that you may have the attack of the specter in Shadeen and the earthquakes happening at the same time. That means you may have this one instead of that one, or they're all mixed up. They're all happening at the same time. The confusion, right? Read.
For these parts of that time are reserved.
Mm-hmm. They're reserved. Read.
And shall be mingled one with another and minister one to another.
So one may cause another, right? One may cause another, or they may be happening at the same time. But that's what you can count on. They're going to be happening. Read.
For some shall leave out of their own.
So one place may not have the fall of fire, but they may have the earthquakes and terrors. One may not have the attack of the specter and the shadim, but they'll have the fall of fire. One may not have the fall of fire, but they'll have the famine and the withholding of rain. So one may not have one thing, but I promise you there's going to be another one present. Read.
For some shall leave out some of their own and receive in its stead from others. And some complete their own and that of others.
So some may have all of it. After you complete one, you get a whole nother one. May get all of them. Read.
So that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days. That is the consummation of times.
Wrapping it up. You see all of these things happening. Oh, it's just see people coming out with articles seeing the oceans turn red from the algae or whatever, the algae bloom, and they're saying that's not prophecy, it's just science. That's not prophecy that Iran wants to fight the US. That's just because they're angry. Stop thinking so much into it that they may not perceive, that they will not understand that this is the consummation of the times. See, what you have to understand is that the Most High doesn't always need divine intervention. Keep in mind, the Most High had a spirit put on the prophets to lie in the time of Solomon. He had a spirit put on them. Just like he has a spirit on the king of Iran, on the leader of Iran, to fight the US. That's a spirit that he put on. Keep in mind, it was a spirit that the Most High put on Pharaoh that hardened his heart. The Most High is orchestrating. This is all puppets. He's orchestrating all of it. Every move, every word spoken, it's all orchestrated. The tribulation is only the beginning of the end. There must be a purging and a cleansing of the earth before the end can come. Let's get 2 Baruch chapter 28, verse 7.
2 Baruch chapter 28, verse 7. Is it in one place or in one of the parts of the earth that those things are come to pass? Or will the whole earth experience them?
Baruch is asking here, is this going to be restricted to like one region or one half of the earth or just like one city like you did with Sodom and Gomorrah? Or is this going to be like everywhere? This happening like everywhere. What's the Most High's response? Chapter 29, verse 1.
Verse chapter 29, verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, whatsoever will then befall the whole earth. Therefore, all who live will experience them.
Everywhere. There will not be one part of the earth that doesn't give witness to the tribulation and the destruction of this world. Just like everyone will witness the fall of Babylon. Behold, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. Everyone is witnessing the fall of America. And everyone seems to be okay with it. China's gearing up to take their place. But there's a judgment for China too. Everybody seems to be, Europe's okay with it. We haven't heard anything from Europe concerning the US. We used to hear a lot from them. They're our allies, right? We used to hear a lot. They struck Iran and Europe had nothing to say about it. Russia said, that was them. They're witnessing the fall of Babylon and they got nothing to say. They're like, just let it happen. Shh. Just let it happen. It's sort of like when you know you did something, but your sibling is getting in trouble for it. So you just sort of like, let me just I'll buy them something later. Hopefully they'll be cool. It's like that. That's what all these nations are doing. They're witnessing the fall, especially Europe, because the three horns were the ones who created America. Three horns are broken off and a little horn rose in its stead. Spain, France, England. Those are the three that made up the US. They're just sitting back watching. They're like, okay, once this place falls, we get power with the 10 horns. We get part of the leadership with the beast. So they're like, we're gonna let the US just destroy themselves, and then all power will come back to us. Read
Verse 2. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those self same days in this land.
Now this is the time when the Most High will bring us back. Right? These are the final times when he protects the woman, right? Read.
And it shall come to pass when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed.
That he shall then begin to be revealed. Now we're seeing times wrap up. Read.
And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place.
So Behemoth is getting revealed too.
Come on.
Now notice, actually read. I'll bring this out in a second.
And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. Those two great monsters which I created in the 5th day of creation, and shall have kept until that time. And then they shall be for food for all that are left.
Now notice something. What movie is coming out in a little bit? Godzilla and Kong. Now there's a reason why the Most High put Behemoth on land and Leviathan in the sea, because they can't occupy the same place at the same time, or they'll rip the earth apart trying to destroy each other. And it just so happens that in this time, which we've been asking for a Kong versus Godzilla movie since I was little, and now all of a sudden they decide to bring out this movie where Kong is revealed and Godzilla, and they're fighting each other all of a sudden. Now you decide to do that. These are the times that we're living in. And there will be food for those who are left. Only Christ can destroy Behemoth and Leviathan.
Come on.
We can't do nothing about them.
That's right.
Christ is going to destroy them, and there'll be food for those who are left, for the nations that are left. Read.
And the earth shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold, and on each vine there shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape produce a core of wine.
Man, we're gonna be eating good too. Can't wait to get some of them grapes right there. That's them non-GMO grapes. Ain't been touched by non-chemical. I can't wait to see what them taste like right there. And you got all the wine you can drink out there. Read.
And those who have hungered shall rejoice.
All of that time. See, this is what's crazy, is that people will be selling themselves because they're so hungry to eat. They'll be hungry, famine. For those who endured, this will be your reward. Read.
Moreover, also, they shall behold marvels every day.
Marvels every day. Seeing new things, learning new things, seeing everything unfold around you. Read.
For wind shall go forth from before me and bring every morning the fragrance of aromatic fruit.
You're smelling fruit. While the whole world is smelling, it's smelling soot and ash, fire, burning flesh. We're smelling fruit.
Come on. Come on, Most High.
Read.
And at the close of the day, clouds distilling the dew of health.
The dew of health. Read.
And it shall come to pass at that self same time that the treasury of manna shall again descend from on high. So
just like we were fed with manna when we were led out of Egypt the first time, we'll be fed with manna again. Heavenly angels' food is what manna is. Read.
and they shall eat of it in those years, because these are they who have come to the consummation of time.
The end or the consummation of times?
The consummation of time.
So even with this still isn't the end. It's still not over. See, I would like to watch a show called Survivor, right? And throughout this whole time, right, that you're on the island, that you're in Fiji, right? This whole time that you're on the island, that you're in Fiji, you're hungry, you don't get to eat like that, you're starving, you got to do all this, you get bruises and bitten up by bugs and everything, and people just keep going. People just keep getting voted out, right? But then eventually you get down to the final 3 or the final 2, and once that tribal is over, you come back to camp and you rest. And in the morning you wake up, there's this big feast. There's this big feast. And you finally get to eat, you get to shower, you get to look at yourself in the mirror and clean yourself up. You're like, yeah, I feel good. Because you made it to the end. Because you made it close to the end at least. But that's not the end. You still have to go to the final tribal. You still have to plead your case before all the people that you voted out on why you should be the winner. And they go in and they write your name down on this piece of parchment. And then you have to wait. You have to wait. You don't know if you won or lost after all of this time. You're just waiting. I believe it's like you wait like 6 months, 6 to 9 months while the show is going on. The show's aired and everything like that. You get to see it and everything like that. And then you come back and you find out if you won. You gotta wait all this time. It's still not over. Even after the feast, because you made it to that point, the feast was there, but it still wasn't the end. There was still work left to be done. That's what we'll be experiencing here. After making it through all of this, we got to this point, and the end still isn't it. That still isn't the end. There's still more left to happen. Let's get 2 Baruch chapter 10, verse 1.
2 Baruch chapter 10, verse 1. And it shall come to pass after these things, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled, that he shall return in glory. So even then, after all of that time, it's still not over. He said, after these things have come to pass, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled. So now he's giving you a time period. So whenever at this time, this feast or this time of peace that we have for this little while the earth is still going through all of this turmoil, Christ will return after his advent. Now, we went over this, right? In our lesson entitled The Most High's Clock, the sequel, we went over there are 35 jubilees from Christ's advent or his birth to the end of time, to his second coming. There's 35 jubilees. So when you multiply 35 by 50, you get 1,750 years. So the Most High is telling Baruch that when this 1,750 years is complete, and all the things that he's spoken of in previous verses concerning the prophecies, Christ will return. All of these things have to be fulfilled first. All of the time that he commanded that there should be between that time to the advent has to be fulfilled. So even after all of the prophecies are finished, we still have to wait till the time is up. The time that he said that would be finished will finish. We still have to wait, right? 1,750 years. There's no express passes. There's no express passes to the end of tribulation. No one is immune from its effects. We all must endure it. The scriptures say, he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. Endure means to go through something. You have to fight. You have to make it somewhere. You have to go through tribulation and trial to get to that point. There's no express passes. No one's immune. There will be no one who makes it to judgment who says, well, I didn't see any of this. I wasn't affected. Mm-hmm. I wasn't hot. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't homeless. Something's going to happen to you. You will endure something. There's no express passes. And don't think that there's any respect of persons either. There's no respect of persons in this tribulation, just like there's no respect of persons in the judgment.
Come on.
Most I don't care if you're an Israelite. There's going to be Gentiles who make it through this time as well. So if you think that just because you're an Israelite, you're going to get to the end of this thing, you got another thing coming. The Most High made it clear. He says that he said in the book of Isaiah, I believe, that he's taken out from among the Gentile a people to call for his name so that they can serve in the kingdom of heaven. What's good being the kingdom of this being the kings and queens of the earth without servants, without people? They've had their time to rule, so they should have their time to serve. Righteous servitude, though. We aren't going to do them the same way that they did us, because they weren't even supposed to do us that way. The Most High said that you went above and beyond what I gave you the power to do. That's why they'll be destroyed. But just like they had their time to rule, they'll have their time to serve as well. But these won't be just random non-believing Gentiles. These will be Gentiles who are keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, righteous Gentiles. Men like Cornelius, who we read about in the New Testament, an Edomite, a Gentile, but he was an upright man. He was righteous. He kept the feast just like we kept the feast. Right? Let's get the prophecies in Revelation chapter 8.
Revelation chapter 8, verse 6. And the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And the angels sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up.
So the seven angels with their trumpets bring destruction to the earth, right? In the last days. So when the first trumpet sounds, there were hailstorms and fire mingled with blood. Now, fire mingled with blood, what that means is that it means blood shed in the Hebrew. That word blood is blood shed. So the hail and the fire would cause death, bloodshed, right? Now, a lot of people don't know this, but there's severe hailstorms happening in Tennessee, Oklahoma, and North Carolina as we speak. Keeping in mind that these are also places that are some of the least likely places to get hailstorms. And do I even need to get started on the fires?
Come on.
I mean, California been burning for a while. The Amazon, South Africa on fire.
Yeah.
These are all places that are just burning and have been burning. How many of you know that over 841 acres burn worldwide every year?
Wow.
If you look up the map, you'll see red just everywhere. Fires. And over 400,000 people die from those forest fires worldwide every year. 400,000 people. Hailstorms and fire mingle with bloodshed. Right? This will leave a very large part of the Most High's greenery, of the earth's greenery, burnt, scorched. And people don't think this is judgment. Oh, well, most wildfires are caused by people. Duh. I mean, what do you think is going to happen when you're testing nuclear bombs in dry heat?
Come on.
When you're testing grenades in dry heat, like on the West Coast. I had a friend of mine who went to California. He went to LA and his nose wouldn't stop bleeding because the air was so dry. Now set off a bomb or light a match in the forest with dry heat like that and see what's going to happen. Or a place that's already got chemicals. You got chemicals in the air. Makes it twice as hard to put out a fire. That's common knowledge. So yes, it's caused by people. When Israel was in power, you didn't see none of this crap happening. The earth was fine. The animals were fine. So yes, it's caused by man and the wickedness of man. We'll get into more of that in a second. Let's get Revelation chapter 8, verse 8, Elder.
Revelation chapter 8, verse 8. And the second angel sounded.
The second angel sounds.
As it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea,
Mm-hmm.
and the third part of the sea became blood.
And the third part of the sea became blood. Read.
And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died.
Mm-hmm.
And the third part of the ships were destroyed.
So this is what we're talking about when you're seeing oceans and rivers and things turn to blood. Now, that word blood, once again in the Hebrew, coincides with bloodshed. Now, when you look at all the chemicals that are being dumped into the oceans and all the plastic and different things that are being thrown into the oceans, what do you think will happen to the creatures in it? They're going to die, right? All the chemicals causing algae bloom to turn red and to grow rapidly. You got the red tide here in Florida. This is what's going to happen. Right? So it said, so what we must understand is that Israel, when we were at the height of our power, the Most High's creation was safe and protected. We weren't doing all kinds of fracking and stuff like that to the earth when Israel was in power, right? The earth was protected. The creation was protected. But what we must remember is that Satan, the accuser of the brethren, has been cast down to the earth, right? With much wrath and destruction, because he hath but a short time. What does that mean? That means that Satan was banned from going into the heavens. Right? Christ said, I beheld Satan cast down as lightning. Right? He did it. He was the one who did it. So he made it clear here that Satan being cast down to the earth, he's relegated to this realm. Right? The accuser of the brethren, which is Satan. So what is Satan doing at this point? What was his promise? He said, I will ascend into heaven. Right? To ascend into heaven, make war with the Most High. Right? And ascend above the height of the clouds. That's his goal, right? To get back into the heavens. So Satan is exhausting all of his resources with the goal of getting back into the heavens to war with our God. So what is he doing? He's fracking. He's drilling the earth for oil. He's digging for metals. He's raping the earth of all its natural resources. And what is this fracking causing? Earthquakes. Fires from bombs and from testing bombs. And all these natural disasters and different things are happening because he's dealing with things in the earth, destroying the earth. Right? The accuser of the brethren has been cast down. Right? Now, before we get into the third angel, we're gonna have a brief intermission, about a 5-minute intermission. All right. So we'll come back to it in just a moment.